Sudha Murty was teaching computer science in MCA college in Bangalore. In her first batch, there was a bright boy called Mohammed. He was tall, handsome, with a good memory. He came from an affluent family where he was the only son, but he was absent for most of the classes. Once in a while, Mohammed would turn up during class tests or exams. Sudha Murty met him often in attendance shortage meetings. He would beg for attendance in such a manner that it was very difficult for Sudha Murty to say no. He would say apologetically, "Madam, pardon me. From the next semester onwards, I will definitely attend your class. Please pardon me this time. To err is human. To forgive is divine. You have only taught us this." Though Sudha Murty used to warn him, she used to melt as attendance shortage would affect Mohammed's appearance in final exams. As Mohammed was very bright, he would invariably get a first class in the exam. However, before the exam started, every semester this drama with Mohammed would be repeated. Sudha Murty would get upset, threaten, and ultimately give in. Each time, Mohammed would promise to improve his attendance record and for 1 week would attend all the classes. Then the same old story would follow. Each time he had a different reason for his absences. Unfortunately, they always seemed genuine to Sudha Murty. Once, Sudha Murty got tired of his stories and called his parents and said, "Your son is a bright boy. He is not arrogant, but he is indisciplined. If only he came to class regularly and attended the lab, I am sure he could get a rank. I have failed to convince him. I will be happy if he could look into the matter more seriously, because this is going to affect his life." Mohammed's father was a busy man and did not take Sudha Murty's words seriously. He said, "As long as he does well, that is fine with me, because after a certain age, children do not listen to their parents. Only life will teach them." But his mother was in tears. She said, "Madam, I have failed as a mother. He does not listen to me at all. He spends all night listening to music and chatting with his friends. He sleeps at 6 in the morning. How can he come to any class? He does not pay any attention to what I say and tells me I repeat the same thing always." The meeting ended in an argument between his parents. His father said, "You are the mother. It is your duty to correct him. You spend more time with him than me. I am so busy. You have failed." His mother said, "You are the father. It is difficult to control boys. You can speak to him man to man. Earning money is not the only thing in life." This continued for a while and the meeting ended fruitlessly. Mohammed continued in his ways till he passed out of his course, as usual, in first class. He was a nice boy. He came and thanked Sudha Murty and said, "Madam, thank you for teaching me for the last 3 years. Because of your kind heart, I could get all my attendance. I wish all teachers were like you in the college." Sudha Murty laughed and said, "Mohammed, God willing, we will meet again." But Sudha Murty did not meet Mohammed for a long time and forgot all about him. Years passed. Sudha Murty taught many students. Some of them became very good human beings. Some became famous, some became rich, and some remained ordinary. As far as she was concerned, they were like her children. Some remember her still and send her invitations for weddings, naming ceremonies, housewarmings, etc. If Sudha Murty is in town, she definitely tries and attends because for her, their immense love is her strength. One Monday morning, Sudha Murty's secretary told her that a person wanting to sell the latest software in high school teaching wanted to meet her. But Sudha Murty was extremely busy. But the secretary said the man was insisting to meet only Sudha Murty and that he was her student. Sudha Murty agreed to meet him at 2 p.m. in her office. In the afternoon, a man about 35, plump, with a bald head and moderately dressed, was waiting for her in the office. In his hand was the CD with software. Sudha Murty could not place him, though he seemed familiar. He smiled at her and said, "Madam, can you recognize me? You may not, because how could you remember all your students?" Sudha Murty was trying to guess who he was. Then Muhammad said, "Madam, I was the perpetual latecomer of your class." And that's when the coin dropped and Sudha Murty remembered. She said, "Hi Muhammad, how are you? It's been a long time since I last met you." Muhammad responded, "Madam, I am fine and I remember many of your lessons. Not only the computer lessons, but also moral lessons." Sudha Murty smiled and said, "Really? Do you remember? I am very happy to see you, Muhammad. What are you doing now?" Now his face became a little pale. Muhammad said, "Madam, I am selling this software which is useful in teaching maths, physics and chemistry. It is of help to both teachers and students. I know your foundation helps a lot in education at the high school level. I thought it may be of some interest to you." Sudha Murty asked again, "Muhammad, what did you do for so many years?" Sudha Murty knew all his classmates by this time were in very high positions in the software industry. Muhammad, being a bright student, should have definitely done well. Yet, on the contrary, he seemed to be doing a small job of selling high school software door to door. Muhammad responded sadly and said, "Madam, you know I was very irregular in college. The same habit continued even after my graduation. I would get up late and was very lazy. My mother would lose her temper and peace of mind. I did not bother. I took her for granted. After a lot of pressure from my parents, I took up a job, but I continued with the same habits of going late to office, not keeping appointments and not being responsible. I did not have the proper knowledge also. In college, I hardly studied. Getting a first class in the examination is not an index of the amount of knowledge one has. I would study just before the exams, guess the probable questions and skip the chapters. I always thought I could somehow make it later, but without proper knowledge it is difficult to work. I always laughed at those people who were hard workers. I used to make fun of them and called them nerds. Today, those nerds have become millionaires. Nobody liked me in my office because of my behavior. No employer would keep such an employee, and I lost whatever job I took up. In my frustration, I started quarreling at office as well as at home. Finally, my father got so fed up, he told me to stay separately. He always gave me a lot of freedom, but I never picked up good habits. My state today is the result of my bad habits. Sudha Murty felt sorry for Muhammad, who, with all his intelligence and good nature, could not make it. Sudha Murty said, Muhammad, you knew all your problems. You could have improved and made a better life for yourself. We can always start at any age. Don't get disappointed. You may have lost a battle, but you can still win the war. Muhammad responded, Madam, old habits die hard. Sudha Murty responded quickly, But Muhammad, it is possible to change your habits. There is nothing which is impossible. You only need willpower. You are yourself not aware of all your potential. Please remember, when elders say something, they do so because they want you to lead a better life than them. Excellence does not come by accident, but by practice. Listening to these words, Muhammad felt encouraged, and Sudha Murty saw a twinkle in his eyes. Sudha Murty has not met Muhammad since that day. She hopes to bump into Muhammad unexpectedly once again, and this time to find him happy and successful.